You are watching All Things Real Estate and More with Ann-Riley Caldwell. With a brand new episode on Title Search.
Hey, I'm Ann-Riley Caldwell. I'm a realtor here in the Nashville, Middle Tennessee area, and I'm with Rowland from Signature Title, and we're talking about all kinds of things related to title companies and title policies. So one of the things that we wanted to get into a little bit more is we hear that a title search needs to be done whenever somebody is buying property and obviously selling property. So tell us a little bit about what goes into the title search and why one needs to happen.
Yeah, so every title company is going to be a little different. At Signature Title, we do a search on every transaction we handle, no matter the situation. A title search is where we go back 30 years. Typically, it could be deeper, just depending on the length of ownership from some people. But we go back 30 years. We search the title. We verify ownership for 30 years, and any liens, encumbrances, restrictions, anything like that. We pull all of this from the local Register of Deeds office. Another thing we do, which can be an encumbrance on title, which people don't often think of, is we search for any judgment liens, tax liens, child support liens, anything like that that can go against the individual, but could also infringe on the property with them being owners of the property. So that process takes 3 to 5 business days, just depending on the county, the situation. But it just gives you a very good portrait of exactly what the title has, like what it is, what any liens, encumbrances, anything, who owns it, who needs to sign, all that good stuff. So it's just kind of a good outline, in-depth outline of exactly what is on the property.
So basically, we're looking at making sure whoever's trying to sell it actually owns it. That's
Exactly.
important, because sometimes people try to sell something they don't have.
Correct.
Or obviously in probate cases, which we can talk a little bit more in depth about that
Sure.
later. You have heirs out there, you have people that have to be found, and so you want to make sure that you find everyone and not
Yes.
have issues moving forward.
For sure.
And then, not assuming, why don't we tell people what liens and encumbrances, kind of what those are and what that means?
Yeah, so a lien can be anything ranging from a mortgage, a home equity line. It could also be in new construction. You can have mechanics liens, or not necessarily just in new construction, but someone were to have work done on their property, got a new roof, didn't pay the roofer, they could put a lien on that property, just as an example. And then, like I said earlier, there could be personal liens. So even if someone doesn't pay a credit card and a judgment is filed against them, that can be a lien against the person, which can encumber the property with them being an owner of the property. So liens can range from a lot of different things, big or small. And then there's also taxes. Taxes become a lien once they're due and payable. So those have to be taken care of as well.
And then for taxes, as well as some other things, sometimes things are prorated.
Correct.
We'll talk a little bit about what proration means to buyers and sellers.
We're at a hard time of year, the end
know,
of
right?
year right now.
Those taxes.
We're getting a lot of angry customers. So, but yeah, the taxes typically come out around October each year. Once that bill is out, it must be paid at closing. So we will collect that from one party, and then we'll prorate it between the two parties so that each person pays their proper portion. So for example, just for easy math's sake, if their taxes are $1,200, we would collect $1,200 from the seller, and then prorate, if we're closing, in November, prorate $200 from the seller to the buyer. That way from the buyer to the seller. That way the buyer is paying their portion to the seller. So everyone is paying their proper portion.
Gotcha. And then with liens, if they don't get paid off at closing for some reason, what is the liability?
Yeah, so that's why title insurance is so important. Because like I was saying, title insurance is from the day you purchase back. So basically just saying you get it free and clear on the day of closing. If there's a lien that isn't taken care of, your policy would cover that. So that's why it's so important to get it. If you don't get a title policy, unfortunately, you are releasing liability and you kind of have to fight that battle yourself. So
now you're left trying to find the prior owner and potentially have to sue them
More than
and
likely
go through
will.
a lot of legal hoops to try to get that taken care
Just
of.
to save a little money on the front
Yeah,
end.
right.
I've seen some really bad situations, so I never advise to not purchase title insurance.
Yeah. So we're going to come back and talk about some other topics. One of the ones will be about ALTA statements. So we'll talk a bit more about prorating, because that's where it all shows up. The fun statement that people stare at and go, what do I do with this?
Exactly.
All right, we'll be back soon.
We hope you enjoyed watching All Things Real Estate and More with Ann-Riley Caldwell. To learn more about Ann-Riley, or for your real estate needs, visit notyourordinaryagent.com or call 615-930-0313. Thanks for watching.